My name's Heather Wiseman and I work as an advanced nurse practitioner in the medical team at St John's Hospice. I've worked in this role for the past 2.5 years, and before that I worked for 17 years as a clinical nurse specialist in palliative care, both in the community and in hospitals. And during that time I've worked with a lot of patients and families and children of patients when a loved one has been dying. I've got 2 children of my own who are currently 10 and 6. It can be difficult to know how to tell a child or young person that someone that's close to them has died. As adults, we tend to want to protect children, and we might want to avoid telling them what's going on for fear of upsetting them. But children notice when something's wrong, and this can leave them feeling anxious and confused. Speaking to children honestly and talking about death can actually help them feel supported and more secure. Children's understanding of death varies with their age, their stage of development, and their previous experience of death, like having had pets who have died before. The best person to tell a child that someone close to them has died is usually the parent or main carer, someone that they know well and someone that they feel secure with. Parents and carers often say they're not sure how to tell a child or what to say, and I hope that what follows might be helpful. First of all, be honest. We need to be honest and give children factual information in a language that they understand and that's appropriate for their age. Secondly, we need to use simple, direct language. For example, we might say something like, "I've something very sad to tell you. Grandma died this morning." It's important that we use the word died rather than euphemisms like we've lost grandma, or saying grandma's gone to sleep or gone away or gone to a better place. As adults, we know what these phrases mean, but for children they're confusing. We might find that children wonder why we're not looking for grandma that we've lost, or they may fear going to sleep, or might worry about other loved ones leaving the house in case they don't come back. Explain what the person has died from. It's helpful for children to know why someone's died. This is usually due to an illness or due to old age. Depending on the age of the child, we may need to explain what death means. For example, saying something like, when someone dies, it means their bodies stop working. They stop breathing and their heart stops beating. They can't move and they don't eat or drink and they can't feel anything, so it doesn't hurt. When someone's died, they can't come back to life. It's helpful to explain that death is part of a normal life cycle, like being born. We could explain that when our bodies get old, they don't work as well as they used to, and when we're very, very old, they eventually stop working. Listen to children's feelings. Sometimes children will be upset and might cry or want a hug. Others might appear not to react at all. But don't be afraid of becoming upset in front of your child. Children take cues from the adults around them about how to behave, and being upset shows the child that it's okay to be sad. Explain that they might feel lots of different things at different times. Some children won't have words for their feelings, and we might see their feelings expressed through changes in behaviour. Encourage children to ask questions. Children tend to be very curious and ask lots of questions, and they may be questions like, where's grandma now? Will I get cancer or whatever the person has died from? Am I going to die too? What happens if mummy or daddy dies? When they ask a question, it can be helpful to start by asking them, what do you think about that? Then you can build your answer on their understanding of what's happened. Answer questions honestly. If you don't know the answer, tell them you'll find out and get back to them. If you think the answer is too difficult for them to hear, then explain that honestly to them too. Children may ask questions again and again, and we might need to repeat ourselves many times. This can be upsetting, but it's part of children's need for reassurance, and it helps them to process what's happened. Children, unlike adults, tend to swing very quickly between grieving and getting on with normal life. They might go from asking what's going to happen to grandma's body to asking, can we still go to McDonald's tonight? This is normal, and it's how children process grief. Reassure children that they're not to blame. It's very common for children to worry that someone has died as a result of something that they've done or said, and it's important to reassure that nothing that anybody has done or said has caused this to happen. Some children want to go to the funeral of a loved one and some prefer not to, and that's okay. Some children who want to go to a funeral can't, so it's important to find a way for children to say goodbye in a meaningful and special way. These are some things that might help. Children could make a card or write a note or send a special toy or other meaningful item to be placed in the coffin with the person's body. They could contribute to the ceremony, like by choosing a piece of music or a poem or drawing a picture to go on top of the coffin. They could write a tribute to the person who's died to be read by somebody at the service. Some places of worship and crematoria are live streaming funerals at the moment so that people can watch from home online. If only 1 or 2 people from a family can attend a funeral in person, they could go through the order of the service later with children and share what's happened. Photographs could be taken to help children understand what's happened at the funeral. Helpful ones might be the outside of the place the funeral's taking place, the hearse, the coffin, flowers, and any decorations. Keepsakes from the funeral may be helpful and meaningful for children. For example, giving them an order of service to keep, or a flower from the flower arrangements to press, or a pebble from the surrounding area. Alternatively, you could have an alternative ceremony at home and do something together in the person's memory, like planting a tree or a bush or letting off a balloon. There are lots of ways of helping children and young people celebrate the life of their loved one. We can talk about the person who's died and share happy stories, maybe write a memory book or make a memory box, or set up a social media page, a memorial page, or look through old photos and video clips. The fact that someone who's died can't come back doesn't mean we stop loving them. Memories of them are very special and they live on in our hearts forever.